Good morning, dear students. So again we come with upon new video on conservation of natural resources. So in the last session we discussed about types of conservations and in the conservation soil, and we discussed about water and forest. So here again next topic is forest and its importance. It is a very important topic for your syllabus and for your further studies. So I already told you forest is again a very important source and it is a natural resource. We have to save our forest for our further use, and nowadays the forest is getting less because of deforestation. So we have to do afforestation of growing up of new trees. So here forest is the house for many living organisms like some animals, birds and plants. Variety of plants like medicinal plants and economic plants are there in a forest, right? It is a precious resource provided by nature. The organisms living in forest are interdependent upon each other. Interdependent upon nothing but they depend internally one on another in any other matter, right? So life in forest is governed by many factors like soil, air, water, sunlight. These all are important for the forest. So forest need light for photosynthesis, that needs soil and that needs water. So there are variety of plants available in most forest. I already told you find variety of plants in the forest, and there are herbs, shrubs, trees depending upon the climate of the region. So in which climate the plants grow, depend upon that climate they are present in the different tropical areas. So plants make their own food material by the process of photosynthesis, and animals depend on plants and other animals for their food. So here nothing but you find both autotrophic and heterotrophic organisms in the forest. So autotrophic nothing but they are not depend upon other for their food, right? So heterotrophics nothing but they depend on the other organism for their growth and development for their food. So there are many forests spread over large areas across the globe. Forests can be classified as tropical, evergreen, partially evergreen, deciduous, dry forest based on the climatic condition and types of trees present. So here based, I already told you, based on the tropical or a climatic condition there are different types of forest. So some are a tropical forest, evergreen forest are there, partially deciduous, dry forest. So dry forest nothing but I find a desertification, desert. So in that you find a cactus example plant and a camel animal, where in that condition only you find such type of xerophytic plants. So forest also comprises of non-living components also, such as lakes, pond, soil, rocks, etc. So next comes importance of forest. So these are very important to study the importance of forest. So we have to know what are the importance of forest, and we have to apply that in our daily life, and we have to save the forest. So forests are the great important to mankind. So some are here we have to study. So water cycle, the main important we have to know about forest is water cycle. I think you already know water cycle, nothing but plants absorb water from the soil through their roots. The process of releasing excess water by plants in the atmosphere in the form of water vapor is known as transpiration. You already know transpiration, nothing but a loss of water in the form of water vapor. So here the water is absorbed by the plants for their process and therefore their growth, and the excess of water is lost by the plants in a transpiration. So the process in which water vapors from an ocean rises and condense to form clouds is known as condensation, wherein the sea water vapors, right, due to the increase in atmosphere temperature, so that vapors condense to form clouds. That condition is called as condensation, and the process of moving clouds to land due to sea breeze is known as precipitation here. After transpiration, after condensation, the clouds come near to land due to sea breeze. It is known as precipitation, and this eventually leads to rainfall. So you already know water cycle. So that condensation leads to a, and that precipitation leads to the rainfall, and these process together form a water cycle. Nothing but a rainfall fall on the ground, and that is observed by the plants, and that plants vapor water, and that vapor again condensation, and that condensation again precipitate, and that will again leads to a rainfall, right? Hence forests play a significant role in the conducting water cycle. So forests help in maintaining the temperature and oxygen level at the atmosphere. It is also very important, nothing but oxygen carbon dioxide level to maintain, because plants absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen, and it purify the atmosphere. So here forests being a huge reserve of plants and trees, they play a significant role in balancing oxygen level in the atmosphere, because if population increases, then the release of carbon dioxide is more. There is no absorption of oxygen. So that's why it will, nowadays the balancing level is not accurate. If the forest is in more and trees are more, then we get a sufficient amount of oxygen and a carbon dioxide level. Forests help in preventing global warming. It is also very important. The increased amount of carbon dioxide, nothing but greenhouse gas in the atmosphere, result in the greenhouse effect, and that cause global warming. Forests prevent soil erosion. We already studied in your previous video that how soil erosion occur, and how we have to conserve, and we have to soil erosion. Trees present in the forest hold the soil particles strongly with their roots and prevent them from erosion. So plants will help to prevent soil erosion by holding the soil particles tightly by their roots. So from that reason we can reduce the soil erosion. Next comes very important topic here, deforestation. So we studied how forest is made, and what are the components are there, and what type of plants and animals we find, and how many types of forest we see, and we discussed importance of forest, right, like water cycle, oxygen balancing level, soil erosion. So here now comes deforestation. We already discussed this. Deforestation nothing but a destruction of forest, cutting off trees, right, for our economic purpose or for human being needs, we are destroying the forest here. So in here destruction of forest is called deforestation. Nothing but a destruction of the forest. Forest has a serious effect on human life and environment. Nothing but a deforestation has a serious effect on a human life and environment. If we cut a more number of trees, we can't get a sufficient oxygen for our respiration. So there we cause some breathing problem also. According to the survey of Forest Department, in India about 75 million hectares of forest area is present. According to the forest survey, only in India has 75 million hectares of forest area. Recently collected satellite image data have revealed that, but previous it is a 75 million hectare of forest area present, but now recently collected data says that about 17% area is covered by forest. See, where is 75 and where is 17? So India is losing 1.3 million hectares of forest every year. In a million, 1.3 million annually, for every year it is losing. In the hilly region, deforestation is so acute that economy and ecology of the area are severely affected. In a hilly region, it is more. Deforestation is more and it is affecting severely. Next, causes of deforestation. What are the causes? Here you can see in a deforestation. So first we come overgrazing. You know, overgrazing also causes deforestation. Overgrazing in forest destroys newly generated growth. It also makes soil more compact and impervious. So here overgrazing, if it graze over, then a newly growing plants or a newly growth is not regenerated there, and a soil becomes less fertile due to destruction of organic matter present over there. So overgrazing will destroy the organic matter and soil, it will destroy soil fertility, or soil will become less fertile. Seeds of certain species do not germinate if overgrazing occurs. In that condition, some species of a plant of that seeds will not germinate, and which results in reduction of species. Species level will become less if the seeds will not germinate. Overgrazing also leads in desertification. I already told desertification nothing but a dry forest. So desert area where you won't find a more number of species. Next comes shifting cultivation. It is also nothing but a cause of deforestation. This is most common in northeastern India due to heavy water erosion. Due to heavy water erosion, you find soil erosion, you study like that only, water erosion. Due to heavy water erosion in northeastern India, shifty cultivation is locally called jhum. Many farmers destroy the forest for agriculture and commercial purposes. So here it is also a type of deforestation, like farmers were making the forest land into a agricultural land, and for their economic purpose they are making that agricultural land, and when fertility of the soil is exhausted due to repeated cropping, a new forest area is destroyed. If we do repeated cropping on that agriculture land, there you won't find again recultivating of the forest. So the forest land is destroyed by shifting the cultivation or by rotating the crops. Therefore, farmers should be advised to use the same land for cultivation and apply improved farming methods. So rather than doing a new forest area into agriculture land, we have to do same land, and we have to improve the cultivation method and apply methods of farming over there only, and we have to rotate the cultivated nothing but crops in a same land, not to use another land for agriculture. And it is estimated that every year about 1 million hectare land is degraded by shifting cultivation. 1 million hectare of land. So next, timber. Timber is used for an economic purpose, right? Timber and plywood industries are mainly responsible for the destruction of forest trees. We are doing furnitures, we use forest trees here. We are destroying forest for our interior purpose or for economically. So thus the increased demand of timber lead to a rapid depletion of forest. So here in demand of the nowadays the timber demand is increasing. So due to that we are cutting more number of trees and we are destroying the forest. So according to the Forest Survey of India in 1987, against an annual demand for more than 27 million cubic meters are permissible cut of timber forest was only 12 million cubic meters. So here according to the Forest Survey, now it is increased of a cutting timber. Before it was a 12 million cubic meter, now it is increased annually. So next, industrial establishment. So here industries are establishing and more number of industries are now getting and newly developing. So industries are not made near the forest or in a forest area. By destroying forest we are making or constructing a forest industries. So some some factories are established after destruction of forest. Thus for a small gain there is an irreparable loss. So here we get for factories are useful in some purposes, but by destroying a large number of forests we are making a factories over there. So due to less profit we are losing a large number of forest over there. So in this process precious plant, wild animals and rare birds are destroyed and the quality of environment is adversely affected. So here if we destroy forest and make factories, so we have destroyed large number of plants, wild animals and birds, and it also affect environment by releasing chemical mixed, so by releasing some chemicals by the factories through water or through atmosphere, it will affect environment also. A factory should be established on a wasteland away from the urban population. So the factories should be made on a wasteland, not on a forest land. We have in a wasteland and it is far from the urban population, because forest also affect on the environment, and if we it also indirectly or directly affect our human beings, and for it causes respiratory problems also. So it should be made far from the population, urban population, and not in a forestry area. It is done in a wasteland. Supply of raw materials to the forest based industries another major causes of forest destruction in the hills. So some factories are based on forest like resin, right, turpentine, and some are timber industries also there. So there nothing but for that also we are using trees or plants. So by cutting the trees and plants for the such type of factories we are destroying the forest also. So the forest based industries such as resin, turpentine industry are also responsible for destruction of trees in the hills. I already told you. And next, encroachment of forest. Another cause of deforestation in India is encroachment by tribals on forest land for agriculture and other purposes. So here tribals also using a forest for their purposes, for their agriculture purposes or any other purposes. They are hunting, they are destroying the forest that they are using for a self-economic or a self-development. According to Forest Survey of India, about 7 million hectare of forest land has been encroached by agriculture. So here by this survey we came to know that 7 million hectare of forest land is used for encroachment for agriculture purpose. Although such land make a good contribution for agriculture. So forest land is again cultivated into agricultural land and it is good contribution for agriculture production. So it is not desirable to convert forest land into agricultural land. So we have not to do such things here by converting forest land into a agricultural land. So next comes forest diseases. Here some diseases are attacked to the forest plants. So there the plants will not grow, the plants will dead and decay. So there also it will also become less of the growth of the plant and tree, and there also affect the destroy of the forest or a deforestation. So many diseases caused by parasitic fungi, rust, virus and nematodes. So these also affect the forest plants. So cause a death and decay of the forest plants. Young seedlings are destroyed due to attack of nematodes. So young seedlings are destroyed by attack of nematodes. So if seedlings are affected, then they won't grow into a new plant. If the new plant will not grow, then the less or a decrease in the forest. So many diseases such as heart rot, blister rust, oak wilt, phloem necrosis and Dutch elm diseases etc. damage the forest trees in large number. Fuel wood, you know fuel wood, right? So maximum destruction of forest vegetation is done for a fuel wood. So here maximum number, more number of forest is used for making fuel wood. Of the total fuel wood, nearly 85% is used in rural areas. For making fuel wood, 85% of the forest is used by rural areas and 15% is used by urban areas. The annual firewood consumption was 134 million tons in rural areas and 23 million tons in cities. Right. So here see, more number of firewood is used by rural areas only. Right. 85% it is used by rural areas for making firewood and about 15% is used by urban areas. So according to the estimation of Forest Survey of India, the annual demand for firewood in the country was 235 million cubic meters. See how much. So according to this survey, 235 million cubic meters of a firewood is used. This fuel wood is the major factor for deforestation. Yes, it is a main cause for the deforestation because using more number of trees for a fuel wood. So next, forest fires. I think you have heard that Amazon forest. It is the largest forest and it is affected by the fire. Frequent fires are the major cause for destruction of forest in India. Some fires are incidentally, some are made incidentally or some are not, while the major of them are deliberated. According to the study conducted by the Forest Survey of India, on an average 53.1% forest vegetation is affected by fire. So according to the survey, 53.1% of the forest is affected by the fire. That data further indicated that fire destroys about 0.5 million hectares of forest annually. So fire, 0.5 million hectare of the forest land is destroyed by the fire annually per year. So next, landslides. So deforestation due to landslides in the hills is of a great concern. It has been observed that the landslide occurred mainly in the areas where developmental activities were in the progress for a past few decades. So where we find the developmental activities, that in that area you find a landslides there, right? And in the construction of roads, railways in the forestry area, particularly in a hilly terrains. So setting up of a big irrigation process have caused enough destruction of to a forest. So for making a roads, railways, and but in a irrigation projects that also destroy the forest by landslides and accelerated the natural process of denudation. Nothing but a here destruction of forest for the another projects, for irrigation projects, for making a road, right, for some other purposes we are destroying forest by a landslides. Next, ravine formation. The forest and cultivated lands along the sides of ravine of a big rivers like Yamuna and Chambal rivers are container ravines. Nothing but big rivers are having a side ravine formation that facing a serious danger of soil erosion. So by forming a ravine, there you find a soil erosion, right? Once the ravines are formed, they continue to destroy the vegetational cover. So here that will destroy the vegetational area, that destroy the forest indirectly by the formation of ravine near the river or beside the large rivers. Next and a last point, increases in population that also affect the deforestation. So the population of India, which was 360 crores in 1951, is expected to touch 1.5 billion by 2010. The number of persons depend upon 1 hectare of agricultural land increased from 3 in 1962-61 to 5 in 1990 into 91. So here by increasing the population, the forest land is again going converted into agricultural land for the human being purposes. So here by the survey we came to know that increase in the percentage of the converting forest land into agricultural land, because such an increase has resulted in acute shortage of land. Because if population increases, the shortage of land also increases. If one person has 1 acre of land, then think how many acre of land is again converted into agricultural land. So that's also affect the deforestation. So these are the some causes of the deforestation where you going to study here: overgrazing, and again timber shifting cultivation, industry establishment, forest diseases, encroachment of forest, fuel wood, forest fires, landslides, ravine formation. So these are the some causes of the deforestation, for the destruction of forest. We have not to make these all things. We have to save forest and we have to do afforestation. So in the next class I discuss about forest management and social forestry. I think you all understood the about forest and its importance and deforestation and the causes of deforestation, how deforestation occur. By discussing these all things, we have to save forest, right? So thank you.